Y'all, welcome back. Season 4 of the Mixtable. We're in the thick of it now. We got SE7EN sitting down with us. It's, as you can see, we flipped the set around. It's a rainy day here in Riverdale, Georgia. Tyrone, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, feeling great, straight out of heaven. Now that I'm sitting at the table with 7, I'm about to turn it up to 14. So that means I'm about to come with the whole team. You know how it is when I hop on these beats, man, I sound like a whiz. I hop on the beats, I kill it with ease. Know I'm finna go party like we went to the squeeze. And my flow's abhorrent. See how I do it, I can rhyme with orange. I keep going, I'm so out of this place. Let me go and take a break, cause I ran out of breath. Had to go and take a sec. Take my shot like Steph. I cook it up like the chef. You know how we do at the mix table. Plugged in like we got some new cable. This is the fable, reading the story. I'm about to give you the details, get gory. When I get above 40, you know I just holler at my shorties. And we go out to go party. Cause no, they can't stop me. I don't know where I should go stop, but I'ma keep going. Somebody please call the cops.
Keep going.
I keep going, keep flowing. I put it all together like the boy been sewing. No sweaters, no, I get better. No, I'm just making these lines, it's like cheddar. No cheese, but you know what I mean. They call me the actor when I come on the scene. I just need my angles. I come through, I break ankles. Go and check my angle, no protractors. But I'm finna plow through like I rode on a tractor. That's how it goes. I could go and kick some more flows, but you know I gotta go and give a show. So hello everyone and just welcome to the episode.
We vibing hot today.
Woo! Hello,
man, what's happening, y'all?
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's how you start a fucking show. Man, woo! That was amazing. That was off the top, too.
I love it, man. I love it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing?
I'm impressed.
I am your host, Tyrone Shivers, and you are here to another episode of the Mixtable. I'm here with my friend, my co-host, my best friend, Young Seppi himself, Mr. Joseph Middledorf.
What's up, everybody? Thank y'all for joining us again. Hello to all of the beautiful people out there. It's an absolute joy to be here with you. Let me fucking tell you.
Absolutely.
We got a good, I say it every time, and every time you've never made me a liar. We've got a good one for you today.
And right here by my side in the middle today, we have our very special guest today. We have the main man, the main squeeze. One of the best
squeeziest.
One of the best podcast hosts out here. One of the best up-and-coming producers, mixers, masters. One of the best, I would give you, entrepreneurial minds out here coming out. My good friend, Mr. SE7EN.
Thank you, man. Thank you for the kind words, the lovely space that you guys are both providing. The vibes is high, as y'all can see, man. Like, that's all representative right here. You feel me? Like we can have a good ass show. I'm excited. Man. I'm so excited because, like I was saying before the start of the show, guys, like these guys are like top tier craftsmen, journalists, like, and this is coming from someone as well who respects the craft as well. So like, yeah, we're gonna have some. We're going to have some good stuff. We're going to be potting.
That means a lot, especially coming from you. But before we get started, for the uninitiated, for the people who may not know who it is, who you are and what you do, can you tell the people, give them your name, tell them what you do in the world?
My name is SE7EN. I'm a music producer who owns a podcast that throws parties through his podcast and plays the music he produces at the parties he throws and owns through his podcast.
I mean, I love it.
It's many different.
A multi-hyphenate, some would say.
Yeah. A mogul.
Yeah.
I would like to say.
So I was telling Joe before this started, and we were speaking beforehand, I was like, this is probably going to be one of the easiest pods that we do here because, you know, as a fellow podder, right, you kind of understand the art of the conversation, the banter, the back and forths and all those type of things.
It's a very delicate dance.
And beyond that, I feel like you and I both kind of have like this, we have this affinity to try to just take conversations to these higher levels, you know, very much so. We have a lot of DMs and messages going back and forth just about, they may start off surface level about whatever trending topic, and they somehow elevate into these.
That way.
yeah. So I was telling Joe beforehand, I was like, look, man, don't be afraid. Just literally, if you want to talk about it.
All right, and I'm the perfect person to go there with. Like, I can talk about anything and everything. I'm not scared to either.
Yeah. So before that though, I want to get a little bit into about like just what you've been doing, what I've been seeing you doing since the last time we spoke on a podcast together. Man. Just so many things have sparked up for you. I think just in the meantime, but in between those things, I think one of the first things, I think like Juneteenth became a holiday, and you had like a barbecue type thing. So this is all the way back in 2020.
Yeah. Damn, that was like maybe a week after we had first sat down. That's crazy, man. One of my favorite interviews still to this day. But yeah, we threw a cookout. It was geared towards trying to like help people or promote like, you know, the movement and the cause of the protest that we were doing at the time. I'm not really so sure at how like successful we were at that, because I feel like capitalism won.
Right.
But I think it was still like a good indicator and showcasing of like early leadership and just like the community presence that I'm building. You know what I'm saying? So that was that.
Yeah, no, I just remember, you know, I tell this story, and I don't want to shame whoever was doing whatever that day, but
yeah,
I didn't expect at a Juneteenth, you know, cookout that the chicken I had was not going to be. I don't know who was on the grill that day, but it was not hidden.
You were disappointed?
I was very
Why
much.
Why are you just not telling me this shit 3 years later?
Content, baby. So, but I just remember that I was like, wow, this is, wow. I just remember being here and I was just like.
Because I know who was cooking it.
Oh, man. And bless him. Bless him. Because I was just like, because I remember also like you were like, oh, there's a barbecue. So I was like, bet, I'm going to come with a little. You know,
some room in my stomach.
Exactly. So I'm like, bet. And then I think, you know, the burgers were done. I was like, okay, cool, pretty. And then, you know, I saw people were coming with their, you know, whatever. And I was like, all right, whatever. The chicken was being done. And I was looking at that. I was like, okay, bet.
You was ready. You thought that was going to be like
I'm ready to throw down on this. Yeah. And I'll never forget. I piled up my plate. I was like, I'm about to fucking, And then I took the bite. And then it's like, oh. Damn. I was like,
what was bad about it?
It was bland. It literally was like the blandest piece of chicken I've ever tasted in my life. Like, I was like, why is this happening now? Of all times, of all places.
That's crazy.
I didn't realize this interview was an ambush. I'm sorry. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yo, I had no idea you felt this way. See how niggas can hold so much animosity for years and like just
I didn't hold it against you
until gun compartment. Like it's like, but I know who made it though, and it's like, damn, they gonna see this shit and they gonna be offended.
Sorry. Well, take it as constructive criticism.
There it is.
Hey, a lot can happen in 3 years too.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
that's true.
Maybe it was a bad day. But
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. It could have been a bad day. You know, you were cooking for
maybe you got an early batch.
That's also true. You know, maybe they messed up on this one and they were like, all right, let's just hurry up and get this one out. Let's just, you know, whatever. But at that point, I was like, damn. But overall, though, great event. Great event, though. Had a great time.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, no, anytime. But even since that, though, like your I guess your skills of organizing an event became more and more
polished.
Yes. And then that led us to the Squeeze event. So how did we get there? Where did this whole thing? I mean, clearly you had an affinity to throwing events, but where did it come from?
Partying. So like, if you know me, you know I love to party, and I love to have fun. More importantly, and I always wanted to do something in connection to my podcast that acted as like the live show element, but I wanted it to be like interactive. You know, I feel like with podcasts, it's kind of a real linear relationship experience and memory that's being created with like the typical live shows of like, you know, people, the Joe Buttons, the 85 South shows, the, you know, Full Court Pumps, you know, all those big people. good shows, like good live shows, right? But you know, it's kind of not interactive to the element that I would like.
Yeah.
And plus, their shows are completely different in structure. Like theirs is more conversational with like friends kicking shit, you know, open format. Versus mine is me talking one-on-one with like an artist or just someone influential in, you know, hip hop or music or entertainment, right? So in all essence, that's really just a panel. You know, if I were to do a live show, and I was like, I'm not doing that shit. So it was me just, you know, being creative and innovative. I love innovation. I want to always do innovation in everything I do. I was like, how can I keep my integral interest of like myself, like in line with my desires? And you know, the party was born. At first, it wasn't called Squeeze. It was called something totally different. The first party was in 2021. You know, I got sponsored by Grey Goose and Patron, and at that moment, I was like, okay, like something here. It just got a little bit of tweaking that needed to be necessary. Last year, 2022, right after season 5 had ended, I was like, all right, I want to still keep the presence of the show, of course, going without it actually being a show. I want to start the parties and shit. And shout out to your homegirls. Hey, if y'all ain't got no homegirls, get you some homegirls, bro. Like the homegirls is really where the money is, for real.
Big
so
facts.
I'm talking to one of my homegirls, and you know, I'm running through all my ideas and shit. And she was like, yeah, this name needs to be changed though, because it sounds like an open mic. And then 10 seconds I said Squeeze, and I was like, oh, I saw everything. I was like, oh, this shit gonna be the new Freaknik. Like
Yeah.
I saw it. Like I saw people saying Squeeze and like, Squeeze, what is that? And why do I need to be there? Like, what the fuck is that? And literally, I saw and heard people saying the exact things that I saw and heard before I even like hit the first one. You know what I'm saying? And the shit took off. Like, we've only done 3 squeezes so far. Did one on June 20th of last year, August 22nd, and Halloween. And then now we had the opportunity to go to London.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's been the epitome of community and fun. You know what I'm saying? Because if you come to a squeeze party, you know how we get down. Like, it's fun, it's vibrant, it's safe. You know, like people who never get out the house are like, yo, I never get out the house, but I'm getting out the house every time you have one of these.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People dance, beautiful women, handsome men, good drinks, good vibes, good music. It's the place to be, legit. You know what I'm saying? So
It's funny hearing you say that you were like, it started happening and you started seeing things that you would like. I realized as soon as I started really chasing my dreams, I've been getting deja vu so much.
bro, it's all manifestation, man. Like the power of the mind is like literally godlike. You know what I'm saying? Everything is a frequency of thought, you know? And our thoughts vibrate just like everything else in the physical realm. So manifestation happens when our thoughts are matching our reality vibration as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's important to, you know, have a certain spiritual practice you have to ground yourself and to, you know, really be tapped in to the wave of the universe, because it's all for you to happen. You just got to get to it, get into that frequency, match that frequency, and then that frequency will become your reality.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. I find, I've been finding a lot is like, I become more understanding of like who I am and like how I function. A lot of other things are starting to line up perfectly like at the same time and everything. And I'm starting to see like other people's like paths, and I'm like, oh man, like you still gotta fine tune that there. But like, especially now because I work with a lot of like high school students, and I can see like the beginning like machinations of certain people. I'm like, hey,
did y'all hear that word he just said? Machinations? Like, we should have like a vocabulary type of pop-up at the bottom of the shit whenever
I get like that a lot. I get a lot of that. A lot of times people be like, bro, why do you use so many big fucking words?
I fuck with it.
No, I appreciate you for fucking with it.
Yeah.
But I get a lot of times people are like, yo, I don't know what that word means. Look, I'm sorry I paid attention in like second grade when we were going over some of these silly words.
I ain't never had machinations in my vocabulary at second grade. That wasn't part of our dictionary list.
Probably. I don't know. I don't even know how I know half the words. You know, I attribute a lot of my vocabulary and just like wanting to talk the way I talk. Wrestling.
Interesting.
The color we watched WrestleMania last night, so he got to see a little bit of like how the color commentators on there are very like descriptive and vivid in what they say.
Yeah.
And I think listening to that as a kid, like playing the video games and hearing them say like big words and just be like,
yeah, because I mean that's like you could try to get Tyrone to use smaller words, but that's like trying to just polish the brass on the Titanic.
Yeah, see, that's like some real.
What a great just analogy. Shout out to whoever said that the other day, because I like that one. I'm locking that one away.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, man, I love using. You know, I see that as a skill in itself. Yeah, you know, I like pulling it out. You're like, oh, you don't know what word I'm gonna use here. So, and then you'll be like, I don't even know what that word means. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Shout out to you, man.
People say it comes off kind of condescending sometimes, but
that's just because they're stupid.
Exactly.
And your confidence offended their insecurity. You can't do nothing about that.
There you go, man. Get your game up.
Eesh.
You know? But anyway, so outside of the Squeeze, I see you've also been very active in your music production side,
of course,
and all that. You know, definitely a lot with your collaborations with Mr. Ben Riley. And things like that. So talk about that relationship and how it has just blossomed and how you've seen him progress over the years and things like that.
The relationship is no more, for one.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's not a ongoing relationship anymore.
Okay. Do you not want to talk about it?
Do I? We'll leave it right here. We're gonna keep it classy. You know.
Okay.
What I'm saying? We gotta move like the kings that we are.
I got you. So what is on? What is next then? If that's in the past.
I'm still doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like I just put out my own house album, House of Divine. I hope I didn't just straight with it. Okay.
No, you good?
Yeah. I just put out my own house album, House of Divine. House music is black music. Don't ever forget that. So go get that. Go spin that. Movement is medicine.
So I did want to ask you about that too, because I did see, you are moving to a more house-centric sound, or is it just house altogether?
I'm moving to a global sound, you know what I'm saying?
Because I like that.
The world of Seven is way more than an Instagram name, you know what I'm saying? With my musical predecessors being Andre 3000, Timbaland, Pharrell, I always describe my sound to people in the most accurate snapshot way is if those three people had a music baby, it would be me, right? And with those people having a global sound like how they do, I also want to embody that global brand that I am, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a human brand, you know what I mean? So with that being said, after the major success that, we experienced last year, I was always thinking about what's next, you know what I'm saying? Like how do I keep people on their toes, like the innovation I'm talking about. So I knew that no one would have ever guessed that I'll come out with a house album, you know? But it's the most strategic thing because for so many different reasons. Primarily, Squeeze is going to London. In Europe, the house market is like how it is in hip hop.
Yeah.
It is over here. So it will only make sense with me being a music producer who owns a podcast at those parties through his podcast to play the house music that he produced at the party he throws through his podcast.
Makes sense to me.
Synergy.
Yeah. You feel me? It's an ecosystem. It's a universe.
Vertical integration.
Exactly. You feel me? But more importantly, and I love that you just brought up that business term because I want to talk to the music producers out there. Oftentimes we rely on artists to provide us our way of living. You know what I'm saying? And if you've ever worked with artists, they move fucking slow. So slow. And your bills aren't moving as slow as the artist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And ultimately as well, you want to have intellectual property that you can own on both sides, the master and the publishing. You know what I'm saying? So for me, being exposed to like the real music industry and the real music business last year, I saw the golden opportunity with Squeeze going to London, as well as two of the biggest artists creating house albums with Drake and Beyonce. I thought that was like just the perfect alley-oop for like, the mass consciousness to people to like accept or get introduced to something that they probably wouldn't listen to normally or haven't been like exposed to normally. So I was like, oh shit, let me go ahead and take that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up those albums because I was getting ready to launch into it, that I like this sort of direction that music is headed. Like the groove is coming back.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
like people are just like, I don't know, just the groove is coming back in general. I see it even in the heavy 808 trap beat type things, that they're getting a little bit more groovy than they were
and
like
I'm happy
a couple
because
years ago.
because movement is medicine, and our music doesn't move anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's very stagnant. It's very stagnant, very low vibrational, very, and feeling sometimes and vibration. And, ultimately I want to set a different example in everything I do, but also I want to heal people through the vibration as well. You know what I'm saying? And music is exactly that. So, I'm still in hip hop, of course, like that's who I am at my core, but, me releasing that house album was a showcasing of like, hey, like I'm able to do any and everything, you know what I'm saying? And I think that I was able to kind of drive that point home with the release of this house album. Like, it's definitely opened up doors for me, like that I would not have able to, get into because I was in a whole different genre. You know what I'm saying? Like people are like, oh, like, I want to put this in my fashion, runway show or this or that, and it's like, hell yeah, you know?
And it's cool as you discover just more. Like what I like about music or art in general is that there's always branches from whatever your starting point is. And I like hearing you talk about it though, because a lot of people like they feel like they evolve out of rap. Like I hear that sentiment a lot from rappers.
As if rap is like this low totem pole type thing.
And now I'm gonna start making real music. And I don't hear
that.
Lil
Yachty did that, man. Like he felt like people were disrespecting him by calling him a rapper, or he was never a real rapper or a real artist because he was a rapper. And I completely disagree with that. I think being a rapper is the coolest shit ever. I think hip hop is the best shit ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things that we as black people in America can truly say that we can like go back in history and say, nah, we did this. Right. With no type of like whitewashing, no type of, diluting of information, no type of anything. Like, this is really our shit. You know what I'm saying?
And now the entire world is doing
exactly.
it. There's an Italian drill scene, like every Japanese.
Like what are we saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, so hip hop is the coolest shit ever. It is the most probably revolutionary thing to the human consciousness since like, oh my God, maybe I can't even think of something in comparison, bro. Like, I truly can't. It's infectious, like how you just said. There's people in Italy, Japan, Australia, Brazil, places that you've never been, hearing music being made in Atlanta, the Bronx, Memphis, trying to be like them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's incredible. Texas. It's incredible.
But and I guess when you say stuff like that, it does make it all the more admirable when the big artists like a Beyonce or Drake decide to, like, they know they have the world in their hands with this one genre and say, no, let's push the train forward.
And it's crazy with that, like a big name comes in and does it, like, because I've been trying to find just like bounce tracks to keep going underneath, and all of it is,
I fuck with his music too, man. This is really,
all of it has been like Drake,
taste.
New Orleans bounce. Like, Drake is not a fucking bounce artist, but all the bounce type beat
so
makers.
So that's gonna be the thing now, kind of like now with the with that Lil Uzi song that I want to, like, people are attributing that Philly sound, but people are like, it's New Jersey. And now it's like sort of being lost in the,
because like it started with Big Freedia. The first beat was a Big Freedia type beat, and all the suggestions were like Drake New Orleans bounce. Like, I couldn't get even to a second video with a Big Freedia type beat.
I guess that is the opposite end of the coin, to trying to pushing a new sound, is that you also do welcome the biters, the imitators, the unoriginality, things like that. Like, because the funny thing you say, like, with Drake and Beyonce. Now all of a sudden I'm hearing artists that I never heard even mention anything of being related to house music. Now all of a sudden, like, yeah, I'm dibbling, dabbling, this, that, and this. Or then what? Like, Bad Bunny and all these guys come out. Now all of a sudden everybody's got the
greatest human act is to inspire. So how can we, get mad when we inspire people when that's the whole point?
Right.
I
guess I'm not necessarily mad at the inspiration. I'm not mad at that act of it. I'm necessarily at the people who use the inspiration and just kind of stop there. They don't necessarily... This was my whole big thing when TikTok became what it became, because I was like, okay, it's going to inspire a lot of people to be content creators, but you're not doing anything. You're literally just talking over something somebody already made, reenacting a skit you already saw, and then you upload it. And it's like, okay, yeah, cool, you had fun, but it's like...
It's the content creation version of charities that spread awareness.
Yeah. So I see that...
Hey, Joseph's really funny.
So I see that kind of like... I mean, I see it happen throughout all industries everywhere, but in the music, sometimes it's a lot less shameless a lot of the times.
I mean, because we know what it is, man. Like, it's a machine in some regards. And the people who are the cause in the machine, they stay in the machine. And the people who run the machine, they run it.
Yeah, see, I wanted to ask you a little bit, because, you said you spent over this past couple of years, you've been really ingrained in the music industry.
Yeah.
Have you become a lot more jaded?
Oh, absolutely. I hate it. I hate it. Like, absolutely. Like, I wouldn't recommend this shit to anyone. I don't want to be in this motherfucker. And I'm not. Like, especially after last year, bro. Like, bro, the music industry is, I say this on my podcast all the time, bro. The music industry is like the Game of Thrones. Literally. Like, people who you come up with, people who you think are like your friends and etc. will slime you out.
Wow.
For this proverbial,
but there's never room on the throne, so you're better off building your own.
There is no throne. That's the thing. That's what I've
gotta build one,
bro. There's no fucking throne. That's the thing. That's the thing, right? But we have like this, especially in hip hop, right? We have like this idea that there is this mountaintop with this proverbial golden crown that only one person can wear. Right?
Check in with me when you get into the city. Type beat, like
type shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, Bad Bunny doesn't give a fuck about what Russ does. Russ isn't thinking about what Tyler the Creator is doing. Tyler the Creator isn't competing with Beyonce. And guess what? All of these people are massive artists, right?
Right.
All in their own lane. They have their own crown, their own throne, right? But especially like, in the climb, I guess, to the top, people don't have that understanding. They think that they have to be strategic in every single move that they make in order to, get to this place. And I want to tell people that there is no crown, there is no throne. You have your own lane, you know what I'm saying?
And when you get there, all that's waiting for you is more work. Like,
people like to think I'm gonna get there and be like, like I'm done. It's like, no. Now the next thing starts.
And now you're fighting off all the people that want to be where you want to get.
Exactly. The music industry is perverse, bro. Like, it's wicked. It's no morals. It's lawless. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes and no, though, because I feel like
let me tell you how it's lawless, right? So, we all know what happened with R. Kelly, right? Do y'all know what's happening with Trey Songz?
Vaguely.
I mean, the same thing essentially.
I've seen some shit on Twitter.
It's essentially the same thing, except they're not little girls.
Right.
Like, he's a serial rapist. But no one is saying anything because, like,
I might need to get on at some point.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to offend this, imaginary person or even a real person, right?
Okay.
But it's not until the public, the consumers, right, have like this champion response of the same thing of like, hey, no, that's fucked up. We're not standing for it until the music industry says, oh yeah, that's wrong.
Right.
But it's like, niggas know about all this shit going on in the background, but it's like, still making money though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's all about the money, and it's all about these potential power moves and opportunities, you know what I'm saying, that you may or may not have. So it's the same thing where it's like, bro, niggas knew R. Kelly was doing this shit for 15 years.
Right.
Years.
Yeah.
But no one took a stance until the public said enough is enough. And then it was like,
Yeah.
type shit. So that's what I mean by this perversity. That's just like a example, right? Like, it's like that. It's the Game of Thrones, bro. I don't want no parts. I'm in the music business. I'm in the human business, actually. I'm in the human business. What you gonna say?
Because I guess, and that's the difference between like the music world and the music industry.
It's different.
But everything is a balance. I found that like some of the best people I know in my life I've met through doing music stuff.
Of course,
like, I've met some really, really solid people that
were they in America or they're in Europe?
Both.
Okay.
And they give me faith that like I know if I operate on the up and up with the people around me, some people are gonna snake you, and that's how it goes, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the genuine people will see that you treat them the same, and they'll stick with you. And like there are good people out there, and if you treat people well, like people reciprocate. When you give them the opportunity to not be a dick, a lot of the times people will take you up on it.
Maybe so. This is that jadedness, because you know, like you asked me about Ben earlier, you know, and I'm not gonna go into it, but I will say the famous Dr. Dre line that is running 20 years in plus, and it holds true. Like the business end of this shit will turn your friends against you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it's like, I want to believe you in the heart of hearts of my goodness and soul. Like, you know, when you do good things will happen to you and everything will be just and all that shit, right? But that's not reality.
I think what the nature of it is that it's apples and oranges. And I think a lot of times people try to put them in the same. So I think friendships, relationships, values, morality is over there. And then business is literally its own thing. Because at the end of the day, contracts are contracts. Pen and paper is pen and paper. It's just that. I think Nipsey Hussle had a very great thing. He was talking about, like, you know, when we come in to do contracts, don't be trying to buddy me and shit before the paper is signed, because until that moment, we're technically adversaries. Yeah. You're trying to get the best deal over on me, and I'm trying to get the best deal over on you. And we're trying to come to some sort of negotiation. So don't try to come to me with this, oh man, we're a family, we're good, because once I sign that paper, none of this matters.
All right, I'm gonna pause that, and I got a question for you real quick. Going off of something that we were speaking about before we press record, do you feel like that's an American ideology where it's me against you?
A little, for sure.
Yes.
Like the idea, and I see it like even in just how American schools teach us how to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
There's a huge emphasis on debate.
Yeah.
Like, which is an effective means of communication for some things, but it's not like the end all be all way. Like there doesn't always have to be a winner and a loser in a conversation.
So look, the people, before we started recording, we were discussing, Joseph and I, we were discussing how America is cooked and how the value system of America is prioritized over guns, drugs, sex, money, power, right?
Yeah.
And in other foreign countries, it's about things of the soul, of things that make you real human, community, cuisine, architecture, like just real things, right?
Now there are layers of all of that in other places too, but
of course, and it's not like, you know, a one-stop shop.
We love generalizing here, so don't.
Yeah. But that is like the nature of it, right?
Yeah.
And I've been widening my global perspective as I've been speaking and being interactive with people over there, overseas and stuff like that as I prepare for London. And I see just how fucking we cooked, bruh. You know what I'm saying? And we don't even know it. That's the thing, because like we're conditioned, we're coded to think this way. Like how just easy, like, it's business. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's me against you until it's not. And that's what it is.
It doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't.
If we all put our proverbial guns down, and just took a minute and just, oftentimes we have similar things. It all comes down to trying to take more than your share.
Because
I agree. Go ahead.
I think that like we should, in the sense of business, this is how I operate, which is kind of why, you know, I had to do things and to make sure I was protected. But like, I think that we should go into business thinking what's fair. You know, not I'm trying to get the best deal over you and you trying to get the best deal over me or whatever. It's like, what is an equal common ground for the both of us to where we both walk away happy, right? Like, I just struck a deal with my mentor, Paul, who owns this company called Freshly, right? Liquor company, juice cocktails, right? And in that deal, I believe that we both walked away from this meeting like feeling like we both have a shared value in the opposite party. Like,
because the other way it's short-sighted. It's like, I got the best of you in this one deal, and now if I need something from you in the future, you're gonna tell me to fuck off because like I got one over on you, and it's like, we could have done something cool together, and it might not even be for 5-10 years, but it comes back around. And if you just make a habit of always trying to get one over on the people you're working with, that shit comes back to you eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think it's just something that, you know, is a part of the American culture basis, man. Like the value system, literally. And like I said, it's so deep. It's so ingrained and coded that like you just don't know until you've been exposed to something else. Like legit, bro.
Yeah, no, and I definitely agree with that, because I was literally just talking to him about like something he was going through with his cultural association thing, and he had to bring up business options, and they were a little like, nah. And I had to tell him, I'm like, you're the American here. Like, you're the one thinking, hey, we got to get in on this. We got to da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, that's just not where their mind, I mean, I'm assuming, but I'm just like, that's just not where their mind probably goes immediately. Like,
and because that's I found, like, we've been throwing events and stuff now for the last couple months. And I was trying to make events happen here in Atlanta when I'm in town. And I was seeing like what these venues were charging to have events at them. Yeah. In Portugal, we were approaching these places and they were like, oh yeah, like we'll just take the bar and you do whatever you want and we're gonna bring money in through the door. And I was so used to what happened here. I was like, oh, great, perfect deal, like amazing, like let's say yes to this. And then we didn't make any money on the event, and which was kind of our fault, but we were also planning like an open thing. But realizing just where my perspective was, like I was going in expecting this battle, like I was expecting to have to figure out how are we going to get the money together just to even rent the event, rent the venue. And they were like, no, it would actually make sense. Like we weren't having anything on this day. If you want to have an event with 200 or 300 people show up and buy drinks at our bar, fuck yeah, like please come in. We're not going to charge you $1,000 to do it. Yeah. And just realizing that
but the thing is, man, people overseas are human. That's how I see it now. Like as I'm continuing to like just learn like the differences in societal, like, you know, upbringings and things like that, bro. Like people overseas are way more human than Americans.
And I always get, let me interject here, because we
done started him. I like it. I like it.
He always, especially when I go visit over there, the whole family.
Oh, you been?
Yeah, I went to Portugal last summer, and I was over there for a month.
Oh shit, I know that.
But the whole time, his whole family was also on the, hey man, this America shit's fucked, bro. You better just come over here, bro. Like, so I'm like, and I'm like, yes, there are valid points, and I do agree with that. But I always bring this up too. I have two big points why I think this America thing gets so different. One is time.
What do you mean?
All of those countries over there have risen, fallen,
1,000-year history.
I know what you're gonna say. America's so young. It's a young country.
They're
so
young.
Fucking what?
But not even necessarily that they're young. It's more so that the people over there have already gone through. For one, mostly everybody over there all looks relatively the same. Yes, there are immigration problems but for the most part, like it's not this whole hodgepodge of things going on that it is. Because that leads me to my second thing is scale.
Okay.
It's literally like whenever we compare anything going on to a European country, it's like, okay, but how many people live there? And it's usually like roughly the same as like a state here in America. And I'm like, the problem usually is that, because what were we saying? That like, if you live in California is classified a blue state.
But yeah, there were more Trump voters in California, just in California, than there were in Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, because like 50 million people live in California.
Oh, shit.
If 40% of them vote Trump, like that's a ton. Like there's like 20 million people that live in the South.
So it's very easy that places just get generalized as like, oh, they think this way, so we don't like this, so fuck them. We're not voting in a way that helps them. So it's a very divisive way of just going about coming to any solutions to anything.
Because like we're in Georgia, so you're a Republican, right?
No.
Because this is a red state.
Yeah, I keep saying.
Yeah, it's it.
And so somebody in Oregon is probably thinking, oh, those fuckers in Georgia are going to be thinking this way, so I'm going to vote this way, thinking that way. But it's just like, it's just too big. What somebody wants here is definitely not going to be anything related to what somebody wants over there. Yeah. So when the people get in power, they're only thinking about X group amount of people, so all these other people are just screwed over. And I think that's where I say it's going to. Maybe this whole idea of like a United States breaks apart. Like maybe everybody just says, you know what? We're just going to be our own thing. Like this is just Georgia, like whatever. I think that's where it goes. States. Yeah, something to that effect. But
we saw what Brexit did with just like the healthcare system. Damn, this is not the podcast I was expecting to have.
I told
today.
you, bro. This was gonna be the
welcome.
So let's talk about what I think the federal government's job should be. The federal government should be like smaller, but it also should be bigger.
Okay.
But they should be changing. They should be like in an administrative role. They should be doing shit like regulations to make sure people aren't polluting, like making sure.
I'm laughing because we're talking about this over this beat.
Exactly, man.
The mix table, bro. It's a mix.
People contain multitudes. But yeah, like
where can you get it anywhere else? Nowhere.
Because of scaling, right? Like the governor is gonna have a way better idea of what's going on in Georgia than the president of all the states is. So like the federal government needs to be looking out for big shit, like just making sure we're not all dying. And when something crazy happens and they need to step in, like say there's a tornado in Mississippi, like rather than waiting for Georgia and Texas and Alabama and them to independently send some help, they can be like, yo, y'all, like we're gonna
National Guard.
Yeah, we're gonna bring a task force together and we're gonna get all these people, like we're gonna step in and do that type of shit. Like they should be regulating, and then the local level shit is like they know what has to happen. They should be spending the federal money essentially.
The problem here, Joseph, is you're making too much sense.
Yeah, and whatever system you build at the end of the day, like you can build any machine that you want, but people aren't machines. They're gonna act like people, and so like there's gonna be cogs in the machine that you build that are gonna be like, actually, I could just like take this money and nobody could do anything about it. And if, like you can't legislate people out of your systems, and that's a bar. That's where it comes down to.
Yeah, and I think. But there definitely does. I know the America Young thing sounds like a cop out.
Yes, it's a fucking cop out.
But
man.
no, but I think there is some
lazy ass excuse. That shit lazy as hell.
There is some legitimacy, I think, to it though.
No fucking way. It's lazy.
Think not necessarily in anything. I think it's just literally in the. Because when you really understand the morals, values that this country was built on, who the people actually were who came over here to start this thing, you start to get a better understanding of like, okay, I see how we got the way we are, because these guys weren't necessarily.
I mean,
yeah.
The other that America has that's sort of unique is that like America was a colony before it became a colonial power.
Right.
So like America's founding was literally just wealth extraction from the Europeans. They had no plans on this shit actually being a society. Like they sent a bunch of slaves over here to work the fields and send the money back, and that was it. And to commit some genocide again. They sent some other people over to do that part.
Yeah.
But like
can't forget that.
The Haitians don't live in France. Right, they still live in Haiti, so like they don't have the direct things where like the Confederates still live here, as do the descendants of slaves. Like they live on top of each other.
Yeah, and the natives, throw them in there too. Yeah.
All the other European countries sent all that problem, like all the conflict they did not on their borders, because they like, we're gonna have to deal with this at some point. I'd rather there be an ocean in between this mess that we're causing.
Yeah. And I think it's one thing I loved. Like when I just learned about world history is after World War II, that was when Europe decided like, oh shit, bro, like we did like way too much fucking up the rest of the world. Like, so we're just going, we just going back off, bro. And it's funny now that they get the title of like, oh man, those Europeans just got it figured out, man.
Them and the Canadians.
Yeah, and it's just like, meanwhile, they're looking over there like, well, don't look at how we got it like this.
Don't look into our boarding schools and what the students that died there and for what reasons.
Wait, hold on.
You'll know when you go over in London, buddy.
Boarding schools?
Oh yeah, that's some Canadian shit.
What's going into boarding schools?
Genocide.
What?
Yeah, no, that
dude, like this podcast is gonna ring off in Canada.
There were
Egad.
The same way there were native populations in America. Like before a border was drawn, that was just land, and so native populations also lived in Canada. And then the British came in and the French, and they put their like schools together to help like assimilate the natives into European culture.
Right.
But literally, they just put like a bunch of people. They just like hit them and then starved them, and they all died. They keep digging up all these schools with like hundreds and hundreds of bodies like buried.
Oh shit!
Of like little kids.
Wow.
Man, this is a great pod.
No one's hands are clean in history.
Yeah,
no one's hands are clean. And I think the sooner, a lot of people like to play into that good guy, bad guy shit of stuff, and I'm real, not necessarily real big on, but I'm real, like, I emphasize a lot the whole, like, what you're saying. Like, anybody can look at it from any perspective and be like, I think there's probably like 3 events in history that universally everybody's probably like.
Who are the 3 greatest white men of all time?
Wow, I feel like I've had this conversation before with somebody, but I don't remember
it's
who.
like Tony Hawk, Bill Nye, and the Crocodile Hunter.
That's a pretty strong list.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that. Can I substitute the crocodile guy with? Who do I want to substitute him with?
I might sub Bill Nye for Hall & Oates, like as one person.
Oh yeah.
I want to substitute the crocodile guy with what's his name that just passed? Caldwell. His name's
Bobby Caldwell.
Bobby Caldwell. Yes,
I'll take that.
I want to substitute him because he made one of the greatest love songs ever. And he's a Leo.
Well, you know. I wanted to ask you about social media, man. This was something.
The range.
We're heading everything.
Yeah, I love it.
I wanted to ask you about this because we've been having a real, like, me and him have this real, like, observation of just like how phones are killing us, basically.
Yeah.
And basically, like I'm saying, I work with a lot of high schoolers now, and I'm seeing how, like, we just see it with us. We don't see how entrenched it's getting.
Oh no, I know about it.
And it's just pretty interesting. But
we're cooked.
One of the things I wanted that I find as an interesting, like, crossroads we're getting to now is the whole verification game or whatever.
Okay.
And I wanted that because we've had this conversation, and you're essentially pro this whole idea of buying verifications.
Yeah.
I want to hear your position first before I say anything.
Okay. So I want to wait until the music starts again.
Yeah, I got it's coming.
Yeah, this is very, very verification music right
here. Okay, yeah.
I guess this is just a part of that knowledge of the industry. Niggas was buying verification checks before it was made to the public. It's kind of like the internet.
Yeah.
The internet was available before it was made to the public. It was just military use, you know what I'm saying? Niggas was buying verification checks for a lot more, you know? And this whole thing about verification, validation, or whatever, I see one side of people who have verification checks, like the OG ones or whatever the fuck you want to call it, like upset because other people are able to get it at a lower threshold than they had to.
Yeah.
And it's like, they use this thing as like, oh, you guys out here paying for checks. But it's like, even if you didn't pay for your check, right, you're still using that check as a form of validation as to why you're better than someone, you know? Because if you didn't have that emotional tie to what this status symbol of a verification check signified, you wouldn't give a fuck. It's like the iPhone back in 2008. This was a status symbol before it was like a commonly, you know, accessible thing. You had an iPhone, it was like, oh, you're rich or you're cool or whatever it was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a signification of a wealth gap, of a class status, right? Now the verification is going through the same thing. Like,
but that was the thing, is that like verification originally was not it. That's what it got turned into.
Of course.
Because like, oh, you got big enough to get verified or whatever.
Right.
But verification at the end of the day was just about being like, oh, this is actually Will Ferrell tweeting this and not somebody that said
impersonating Will Ferrell.
Yeah, and like when Twitter did their shit, everybody, shout out to Jabuki as well, Jabuki Young White, the pioneer of using your blue check to impersonate other people. He did the CIA and the FBI. Like, all, yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
He's one of the reasons verification on Twitter has changed. Zach Fox, another one.
Yeah.
But like, it was just supposed to be like, so you weren't impersonating somebody. And so the fact that they're offering verification to everybody, that should be good. Like, that should have been a good thing because, oh, I can verify the same way, like, I'm verified on Tinder. Like, so because you're not catfishing, you're not doing shit like that. But
AI is the answer. That's the reason why they're doing it.
Yeah, but they're not. But you shouldn't have to pay to verify. If it's about identity, if it's about like being secure with, like, you know, this is who's talking and people aren't, then you should be just offering it to everybody. It should be a service.
But that's not America, because capitalism.
Yeah.
And all these social media companies ain't making no money. and they've been bleeding for years, and we've known that. And this is their business model now. Like, they've been talking about paying for Twitter for like 8 years.
And that's the thing. If you're not paying, like, you're not you're the product. If you aren't paying, you are the product. And now they're turning you as the product into another.
Product.
Yeah, you're
a double product.
Anyway,
hey guys,
fuck
make sure
Elon
you eat
Musk.
your oranges.
It's just like every day I learn more and more about how this fucking thing is just like.
You want to talk about how Spotify pays? That because I thought I've been talking with Diogo about this. That like with it's like Spotify makes a certain amount of money every month, and so if you drop in a month that Beyonce drops, even if you get the same number of streams, like you're probably gonna get paid less because Beyonce's gonna own like 80% of the streams on the platform that month.
Yeah.
Like, so even if your 1,000 streams might be worth one thing in this month and the next month they're worth like a completely different amount because like maybe Spotify had 1 million plays last month. This month they had 10 million. So your like 100 plays is way smaller and this month so you get paid a smaller chunk and they're trying to legalize the payola scheme as well, that you can boost yourself in the algorithm for a smaller payout on your royalties.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Before it's all said and done, I am going to find out what a stream is worth. Mark my words. Not what they pay you, what it's worth. Those are two different things.
That's like some shit where like humans ever make it to the moon. It's like one of those things.
And I don't even know how you determine that because like how do you stream? How do you determine between like a listening stream and a background stream, an ambient stream versus an intentional stream?
They know. They have the answers. They know what it's worth. They are just telling us what they'll pay us.
But how do we trust what they like? I don't trust them for shit. How like?
Oh no.
They know what it's worth. Like, what is it worth? What metric do you measure it by?
Oh no, it's not something that we have to ask them to tell us. We have to figure it out on our own.
Right.
And there's ways to do it, but you can never show your hand. But
I saw somebody do a breakdown. They were like, basically like, if Spotify even paid people like a cent per stream, like they would be like $20 billion in debt.
Yeah.
Like,
because your subscription's only like $10 a month.
You know
and
yeah, man, the whole fucking thing's fucked.
Have y'all seen the documentary on Spotify on Netflix? You haven't seen it? Oh wow! So I'm talking from a whole different base of. That's why y'all don't understand when I said what I just said of find out what it's worth.
Okay.
So
I just hate them out of principle, not like out of.
I love this guy. Yes.
Yeah.
So check. All right. Long story short, you guys watch it. It's called The Playlist.
Okay.
On Netflix. But long story short, as most people already know, the labels and Spotify are in bed together in business.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Like
Mm-hmm.
Spotify and the labels pretty much damn near have a joint venture, pretty much.
Yeah, I feel like most people could put that together.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's the only reason why Spotify is even like alive right now, because Spotify tried to go public years ago, but they was clashing with like, you know, publishing rights and all this shit like during the, you know, LimeWire era and shit like that. So the only way that Spotify was able to clear was to essentially like fork over some ownership of the company equity to the record labels. So what a stream is worth, what it's actually worth versus what they tell us it's worth. Two different things. What they pay you and what it's worth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're gonna figure it out.
That's the thing, man, about them entrenched establishments, man.
I feel like a stream is like liquid gold.
Interesting.
I believe it is liquid gold. We just get the piss.
I could believe it.
Yeah.
I could definitely believe it. So, who knows?
Yeah, man. It's
yin yang in this thing.
And that's the thing. We're not gonna be able to buy freedom. We're not gonna be able to buy
start the revolution.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that I keep coming back to we're at two options, and like it's either violent revolution, and like I know I'm not really about that shit. And that's the bluff that they keep calling again and again, is that if you do a violent revolution, people that you care about will die. And they know we don't want to shoot the hostages. They are good to keep shooting hostages again and again and again. But they know we won't, because we actually care.
Yeah.
So the other option we have is a large scale general strike. And the only way to make that happen is people have to start caring about each other, which is why the whole shit is designed to make sure that you hate your fucking neighbor and you're scared and you put your Amazon camera in the thing that the police think it. We can go on and on, but like trust your neighbors and fucking quit your jobs and stop paying rent.
And we were speaking about this earlier.
I fucking love Joseph.
Oh yeah, no, I knew you guys would get along.
Wait, can I like weird this out real quick?
Go ahead.
What's your sign?
I'm a Sagittarius.
I fucking knew it. I love Sagittarius. I love fire. Like Sagittarius men and me, like we just like click like treacherous twins, like deadass.
Interesting.
Yeah, like we're locked in. All right, keep going.
But I was gonna say the interesting thing about what he's saying is that we were having this conversation that I think that going back or beforehand we were talking about like this experiment that is America.
Yeah.
Going back to like how like just literally how this thing was founded set the tone for how it was going to be, but like the whole idea was built on we're independent, we do it all on our own, I don't want any help from anybody telling me how I should be doing things.
Yeah. And
so like that has permeated all throughout the years. It has been turned and flipped on its head all way sorts, but it all comes back to as long as I got mine, I don't care about what happens to anybody else. And I think that's just, I don't know how and I was telling him how this has even evolved into like the mass shooting crisis. Like I think that is a symptom of this perversion that is the American, it's just me, I have to do everything on my own.
And I should be able to move heaven and earth. And the only way I can really see to like do that is by doing this. Like I can make like a huge ripple in the world if I go like I'm gonna stop my sentence, but like go give your neighbor a fucking hug. Like god damn.
But check, it's crazy that you bring that up, bro, because that's really the reason why I am keen on not raising my family in America now. Like after the shit that happened Monday with the shooting in Nashville, like it was very jarring for me because I was looking at it realizing I was desensitized to it, right?
Yeah.
And being disgusted that I was desensitized to it. And then it was like a oh shit moment of like, wait a minute, I don't have to do this. Like it was in that moment I was like, wait, I don't have to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure it's probably because like my global view is expanding. Speaking to people in London and, just all across the world about their way of life and just all these different things. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't have to be here. Like, what the fuck? Because if I send my son to school and he doesn't come home because someone killed him, I'm wiping out your entire bloodline.
Yeah.
And again, I mean,
like no question. Like that's crazy. Like we've normalized that in America.
But listen to the violence.
That don't even sound like a real sentence.
Exactly, and listen to the violence in the words that you're using right now.
That's true.
Like
we're all programmed, bro. It's deep.
That's
it's
true.
Deep.
Yeah.
God damn it, I'm an American. Oh my god.
And that
Jesus Christ.
And that's a big thing because we were talking about this too. Is that people are oftentimes looking for their opportunity to perform anger. Like they're looking for a reason to be like, I am justified in my violence right now.
Yeah.
I had a reason, and so many people are fucking looking for their reason.
But yeah,
why?
That's
what took my son away.
Yeah, but
at school.
Who though? Your hypothetical son, like
this mass shooter.
It's the same
stereotype.
It's the same shit when people are like, when I have kids, I'm gonna beat my kids. Like,
is it?
Yes. It's
how so?
You're talking like this kid doesn't even exist yet, and now you're fantasizing about.
How you know I ain't got kids?
You're fantasizing about the death of this kid, so you have the ability to go postal on some other people.
But it was in context of response of a real factual event.
But even still, though, I get the point that he's saying.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It's just that in America, the default, we have this, like, we believe that there are certain situations, like, I'll even go smaller. We even go small scale.
Okay.
Chris Rock, Will Smith.
Yeah.
There were people saying like, oh no, like he's talked bad. He deserved to get smacked in the face. Like,
okay.
It's like, how did we jump from, he may have said something to like kind of offend somebody to, let's go smack the shit out of him. Like, how did we...
In front of millions of people.
And think about how much more time and like processing power your brain would have if you weren't like cooking up these scenarios where you have the right the right to be violent with people. Like it's just, I don't know, man.
I like this. I like that I was challenged on this. I didn't.
Hey man, that's what we do up here,
that.
man.
So
I didn't mean to do that one.
So in short, I am an American.
I mean, like I said though, it's honestly kind of a relief, I guess, in a sense, to understand that that's what it is, though. Because a lot of people walk around and they just think, oh, this is how the world is. Like, everybody is out to get me. I have to be. But once you understand, like, oh, no, like, this is the product of my environment. It's not just nature. It is also nurture as well. Like, it's all of it together. And I think in understanding that, then you can start to you can spot it. You can be like, oh, nah, this is my Americanism turning up right now. I believe he was telling me when he first moved to Portugal, like a lot of times you'll hear like cars like backfire, and like instinctively you just want to run just because of like
a motorcycle was driving by, and like after it got behind me, it popped, and I was just like, oh well, and I ran around the corner, nobody else fucking moved. And I was like, oh,
I'm traumatized.
Interesting. Like, my initial thing was just like hit the deck, and nobody else fucking moved. And it was eye opening to me. I was like, oh wow, I really am, like, I sit with my back to doors now. I never did that. I never do that here. Like,
what side are you from, Atlanta?
Oh, I live from Roswell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting that you even had that type of like.
I mean, man, just like look around.
I better say America programs you to just be, no matter where you live, to just be scared.
Look at what's on TV. Like every fucking show is like, the big moment is people just shooting at each other.
That's the climax.
Yeah, and it's just, and it's not even the climax anymore. It's like barely plot
That's
point.
the intro.
Yeah.
that's the
setup.
Get you in. Yeah.
But then the other thing is like, I'm about to completely undercut what I said. Like, the media only feeds you violence and whatever to get you like on edge, but they also they pick and choose which violence that they harp on. Like, both in like the big crime spree report that we were talking about all this year, which was just fabricated. But then, like, speaking about Nashville, like 3 years ago, somebody detonated a bomb like in downtown Nashville on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Here and gone in like less than a week.
Of course, it's all controlled and it's all like, it's on purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's on purpose, but like it's also just, it's a numbers thing that like, because you can't really predict what a single person will do, but you can predict what a big enough group, you can be like guaranteed somebody will do this. Like, and I don't know, man, just listen to the people around you. Like, actually try it. Like, circling back to like, debate isn't the only form of conversation. Conversation originally was just about exchanging information. The water is over here, the food went that way. Like, and listen to the people when they talk to you. Like, don't immediately get your argument back going. Like listen and try to diagnose, but like what translate, what is it this person is actually trying to tell me right now? Why are they telling me this story? What is the point that they're trying to get me to take away from it, versus like, oh well, actually somebody did this in 2007, not 2006, you fucking moron. Like,
right.
Yeah, man.
Sensational.
I thought that was me laughing. I was like, yo, this sounds really familiar.
That's my non sequitur. So, wow, what a show we've had here today.
Range, right?
No, I mean, I love it. I wish every podcast went like this, to be honest to you.
You hear that, guys? He said y'all ain't shit.
I didn't say that.
I'm the best.
We welcome you here at the mixtape.
Oh wait, I'm being an American again. I'm sorry.
We love everybody.
But so here's
how can I decode my Americanism?
You just gotta go see the world, bro. Literally, and understand.
Do I just die?
No, you just need to just stop trying.
Yeah.
Stop trying and start being.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
When you go to London, well, I don't know. England ain't too far off from
Like,
America.
nigga,
so.
that was the OG.
Yeah. Well, at some point, really expand your palette as far as like, traveling outside of the typical places people want to go on vacation. Go out of the touristy places. Talk to just like regular ass people. And then,
of course, that's automatic.
And through that, though, I think you'll just start to understand, and you don't even necessarily understand. You'll just start to see how different you are, and through those differences, you'll be like, oh, wait a minute, like.
And what parts of you came with you, and what parts just stayed home because it was just a product of.
I like this guy.
What you were doing.
I like this guy. I love this guy.
Yeah, and
love you, Joseph.
And don't also get it confused. It's easy to slip back into it too. It's easy to, like, you live here. It's easy to just fall back into the cycle and get caught up in the bullshit and be like, oh man, they're gonna kill us, we're all dead. Like, it's easy to fall back into it. But like I said, once you learn that that's what it is, that it's literally just what's being fed to you, you can sort of like, you know how to turn it off. You know how to run away from it.
To some degree.
And shit like that. So to wrap things up here, we kind of like to bookend things here. So we like to bookend. So you know how like the bookend, you have like the beginning and
the opening cover, the closing cover.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
So we open things up here with the freestyle. So we figured that's the best way to close things out here. But we'll make this a little bit more interactive here. So I want you to think of 3 words or topics that you feel best describe the essence of the conversation that we've had here today. And then I'm gonna try to incorporate those into some little diddle Joe puts on for us. So what do you give me some words?
You got energy.
All right.
We got right now. We got energy. We got intellectual. And we got fun.
Okay. Energy, intellectual, and fun. Okay.
What kind of beat would you like to do this over, Tyrone?
Let's see. Let's try to keep it on theme. Let's go with.
Wait, can we do a Neptunes inspired beat, because I am the baby music child of them?
That works fine for me.
That's Tyrone's wheelhouse right there.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, let's see. The first like 3 we've already clicked on when we search Neptune's type beat.
Popular group.
I rue the day when there's a 7 type beat. But I don't think if my style is copyable. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure they all said this at some point. Like, right. They were like.
But that's how you know your sound is that global sound, though.
That is true. Or it's that distinct that people can be exactly. Like.
Because like when Dilla started doing what he did, like people were like, "There's no one that could do it like this," and now there's a million Dilla type beat people out there,
true.
and a bunch that do it really, really well.
Really well, yeah.
Okay. We got one here. 2 minutes and 45 seconds by Dat Boy Will. Out of My Mind.
Okay.
All right. It's got the Pharrell In My Mind covered. Like, so.
Seems like he knows what he's talking about.
Here we go. Let's see.
Try it out.
Let's see what we working with here.
Dat Boy Will. Oh, we were already playing this one.
Oh, okay. Shout out Dat Boy Will. Okay.
Energy. Intellectual.
Fun. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So get ready. Get set. Me and Freddie, we about to come wreck anything that you thought we was gon' do. I'm so sick with this thing like the flu. Come through, I go collect. I'm too smart, tell by my intellect. I'm trying to get money, increase the funds. When I hop on the beat, know I do it for fun. Kinda like the conversation that we having. I hop on the instrumental, get the spazzing. Know I'm having so much fun. I'm kinda so sweet, it's like a honey bun. Nah, no rapper off the top of Kappa. I come through, they know I'm like black, bruh. I blacked out, nah, I spazzed out. It's kinda like I'm down south, way I cash out. What else we got? I'm finna come through and just rip this block.
Energy and fun.
Nah, they can't see me. I'm about to turn up cause I got so much energy. Now they see how I be on this. I come and hop on the beats and I make it real quick. I don't think these lines, they go sync. I'm about to skate off like I chill at the rink. They see I got it made like I'm out at Cascade. Get rid of the bugs, I gotta get the raid. I got it made like I gotta get it clean.
I got the dope shit, they calling me a fiend, but I got the energy, I turn up. No vegetables, but no, I turn up. I gotta grow up like the way I throw up. Gotta come in and switch the whole flow up. That's how it goes. I gotta switch these flows. That's how we go get litty. This shit get kinda crazy down here in this city. We gotta go across the seas and see how this real living be. That's how we do it. Sometimes I just get influenced. Go out and just be foreign. We turning up with the orange. My man Seven, we just big stepping. And the mix table is the crew I be reppin'.
That's how you end the show right there.
You know?
There it is.
That's how you end the show.
You went 230 out of 245. That shit was
perfectly timed, you know?
Amazing.
Hey. I love it. Well, Seven, brother, thank you again, man, for coming by. Like I said, I knew beforehand we were gonna have just like how we always do these high-level conversations, but overall just fun, laid back, you know, nothing too crazy. Yes. Yes. So, I guess
the range.
Yeah. The last thing I have for you is to just kind of let the people know. Like I said, we're shooting for a summertime release time here, so let the people know what you got coming up in the future, where they can find you, the Squeeze, your podcast, and all that good stuff.
Yes. If you are looking at this video right now, that means it is probably during the summertime, and we are on tour. Squeeze the World. First stop, London in June. New York in July. We finishing off in Atlanta. You can find all information on Squeeze as well as the podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Channel 7 Podcast. You can find me at The World of Seven on all social media as well. You can find all of my music, Seven, SE7EN, all caps, House of Divine, the House album out right now as well. And we got a lot of cool things in store as well. So I'm really excited. Thank you guys for having me. I'm so grateful, so honored to, be on your platform and, have some really good conversations, some fun times.
Yeah, man.
Really do some cool shit.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Joe?
You know what time it is. In the description of the video, in the description of the podcast, there's going to be a link with all the beats that you heard today. Go listen to them. Really cool shit. There's still people making yin yang beats in fucking 2023.
Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, he's keeping that shit alive. Go spend some money. Go make a song. Go make a video. You got friends that make shit. You got friends that do shit. Support it. It's fun. Give your friends a hug. Give a stranger a hug. Maybe. I'll have an album out when you're hearing this. That Was Fun, Now What? It'll be on all platforms. Go stream that. And
that's a fun title.
Thank you. And one more, I gotta give a shout out to The Stash for hooking me up with this jersey. You can find them online at The Stash, Kari Designs, and shout out to the people at the
Streetwear Market.
At the Streetwear Market. That shit was really cool.
Shout out Mar, friend of the show.
Yeah.
Shout out to my boy Marvin, man.
All right, Tyrone, take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, once again, I want to thank Joe for doing what he does on the ones and twos. And I want to thank Seven for coming by and just having a great time with us. And more importantly, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Whether you're listening, watching, or however you could be here, we're just happy you could be here. So, tune in next time where we're going to have somebody sitting in Seven's seat and we're going to be mixing it up. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen.